everybody, welcome back to Movies, a podcast about the act of cape shit. I am Simian Jimmy, and joining me, twice in a row now, we keep doing this as a pattern somehow, LowRes Wonderbread.
Yes, and I'm very happy to be back. This is a very different movie than Not Cool, but I think there's a lot in common with cancelable characters acting erratic. It's maybe a good pattern.
A misunderstood protagonist, actor who everybody, they have the wrong impression of, and he's a secret hero. Speaking of secret heroes, we're also joined by the Weekend Warrior.
How are you guys?
Wow, what is this trio that we've come up with? People who I never thought we'd see the day. There's no Florian, there's no Kino Corner, no Aggie, just three people who've never met before.
Yeah, I think this is the first time I'm talking to LowRes, so hi.
Hello. Yes, the first, as if we didn't have like 30 minutes of technical difficulty.
Definitely
don't tell the audience
me.
That.
Yeah.
Weekend actually just got back from a trip to New York. Did you see LowRes there?
No, unfortunately.
Now, there's probably a lot of guys that look like me, that sound like me, but not me. What part of New York were you in?
I think I was in Manhattan for most of it. Yeah.
The city proper. All right. Yeah, I'm out in Queens, so that's probably why I avoid any busy areas of New York.
Oh, we did go to Queens. We had dinner at a Filipino restaurant, so that was fun.
Yeah, LowRes has the reputation as being the king of Queens over there.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what they call him.
Correct. Everyone.
His wife's a Scientologist.
Oh.
But hey, we're here together, three men who have never met, united by the Flash movie. This movie brings people together. It brings joy to the public. Big smile on my face. Weekend Warrior, let's start with you. What did you think of this new Flash movie?
I hated it.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression from your tweets or your retweets or your subtweets.
No, it's funny because I had this like talk with my sister because when I say something like, "Oh, that thing," I'm not sure if I like it. I think it looks weird, and she just said, "If it's weird, you don't like it. There must be something wrong with it." So that's my philosophy with like stuff now. Look, when I find something weird, that's something in my brain telling me don't do it. So after I watched The Flash for the first time, I had a generally okay impression of it, but something was off. But then my dad told me, "Hey, let's watch The Flash. I got us tickets," and I had to go because it's
what a good dad.
Yeah, and then I realized what was wrong with it. Oh my god! And yeah.
Wait, the second viewing revealed some secrets you didn't see the first time. I'd be excited to hear that.
It clarified what was off to me. So, that's why I found this whole thing to be bad. Not
was
weird.
That Nicolas Cage looked like a PlayStation character?
Not just that.
I've been really fuming with rage because, as my Letterboxd followers can tell, I truly loved this film. I gave it an unironic 5-star review. So then when I have Weekend Warrior, he sees it and he says, it was okay. I liked it overall, but it had some problems. And then I go to his Twitter and he's like, "This is the biggest dog shit piece of movie I've ever seen." I was like, whoa, somebody's farming for likes, it looks like. What's going on? This is the Mario movie with Kino Corner all over again. A Weekend is lying about his opinions.
No, I liked it. No, I did say in my Twitter something was weird.
Yeah.
I have to defend myself.
I was just upset by some of those retweets. Like, wow, he said it was okay, and now he's saying it's the worst movie ever made, like an abomination against man.
They said it was atrocious.
Oh my god! What is your general sentiment on the Snyderverse and also the DCEU in general? I would be curious to know that before we delve into your opinion on this movie, because I feel like a lot of people approach The Flash very jaded and expecting the worst, and I'm curious to know what your stance is on the rest of the surrounding context.
Well, I don't like Zach's version of these heroes, basically. Mm-hmm. But I think the problem with the DCEU now, or like I think DC, is that I think people like it to be dark, right?
Yeah.
So when they have this, for the most part, a whimsical adventure, people are turned off by it probably. But that's not me, because I just don't like Zach taking Superman to be like basically a killer. And I see these tweets of people like, "Oh, Supergirl killed people. I don't see people complaining about it." Like, oh, shut up.
Oh, in this one?
I love the fact that Zack Snyder turned Batman into a guy where he'll like pull a knife out and stab a guy in the heart. I thought that was fucking awesome. I thought that was great. And I don't think it's like character portrayal. I mean, with Superman, I can understand that criticism. With something like Batman, a lot of people are like, Batman doesn't kill. The original Batman had purple gloves and a handgun, and that was his outfit back in the day. So,
purple gloves? Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm totally up for any sort of interesting or different interpretation of these characters. I think a lot of people have it in their minds, like the Batman animated series, which I think is good, is like the defining version of many of these characters, or like the Justice League that Bruce Timm did back in the day. But I will say that the Ezra Miller version of The Flash is really just not my cup of tea. I thought he gradually got better as the movie went on, because he had his own like goofy personified over-the-top version, then a more serious grounded version, which was still like not all that serious or grounded. But on the whole, I have to, even though I have a positive feeling about this movie, a positive review for this movie, I enjoyed this movie. I think Ezra Miller might be like one of the most annoying protagonists in a film ever.
Wow. I'm approaching this movie from. Can you guys still hear me? I don't know if the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, the technical shit was fucking up during LowRes' speech, but I'll say I'm approaching this movie from somebody who has genuinely loved Batman v Superman, like from day one. That's been my favorite DC movie for so long. But I don't know, LowRes. I feel like this Flash movie might beat it for me. Like, I was really into this one, and I'm sure we'll get into your complaints about the Flash's character portrayal and how annoying it might be. But Weekend, what did you think of Batman v Superman?
I did not like that.
Yeah, I figured that's fine.
You saw both versions?
Yeah, I saw the extended edition. Yes.
Okay.
Ultimate Enhanced. I have a video about it. Ultimate Enhanced Extended Edition review. But I did compare that to MCU, and that part has not aged well. So
yeah, a lot of the stuff isn't aging very well, is it?
Yeah, it's not, unfortunately.
And did you take a look at the Zack Snyder's Justice League 4-hour cut?
I did.
Okay. That was kino as well.
I found that better than the original one.
The Joss Whedon cut?
The Justice League, yeah.
Yeah, Justice League.
Yeah. The first 30 minutes of this echoed so much of that 2017 version of Justice League that went to theaters, and it made me nervous. It made me very uncomfortable, where you have the Flash saving the babies from the most. So, okay, we should address something too, in that the CG's been getting a lot of flack, and I think it's half deserved and half intentional. Have you guys seen Andy Muschietti's version of It by any chance?
No.
Okay.
Is that the remake?
Yeah, it's he did one in 2017, and then there was the sequel with the adult version.
Oh, wait, you're talking about those ones? Yeah, I've seen those.
Yes.
I have not.
The CG in the 2017 It is deliberately cartoony, and you see a lot of that here with the Flash movie. I think it's half a bad CG team, and Andy Muschietti being like, all right, the CG's not going to look good in 4 months anyway. Fuck it. Let's just turn this into a Looney Tunes cartoon, which is why you have like this very over-the-top, like waxy looking people. Like even there was CG characters here where you didn't need CG characters. When you have the Flash going back in time and entering like the Speed Force, for example, you have like CG versions of his dad, his mom, I think Iris West, and they could have just as easily been the actual actors there just posing. And then later on, you get the waxy CG versions of all the cameos in the film. And I think it was kind of like they're prepping in advance to do that because they knew they weren't going to look legitimate, like Christopher Reeve or Helen Slater or Adam West. So I don't know. I find it interesting how Andy Muschietti has decided to. He's one of these few Hollywood directors where he seems to recognize that the CG is not going to age well no matter what, and so he just takes it to an extreme. and tries to utilize it comedically, and it produces very weird effects.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people clowning on the movie for a lot of the visual issues, but as somebody in the movie theater and not just looking at a fucking TikTok on somebody recorded and posted to Twitter, I thought it looked, acceptable. Like, I was not taken out of it. I was not super offended by all these dead people appearing on my screen. But then again, I have no nostalgia for any of this shit. Like, I have not seen a fucking superhero movie made before the year 2000, as far as I know. So, all of this was basically new to me.
Wow. So not even Michael Keaton Batman movies from
Never.
89, 92. That's wild. Wow. All right. They're great. They're awesome. I just watched Superman the movie yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I do find it kind of weird that they're using dead people, like they're recreating their likeness. That doesn't sit totally right with me. But at the same time, if you go back to 2006 when they did Superman Returns, they included Marlon Brando's voice and face in that movie when he had been dead for years. So this is not like a new phenomenon for the superhero genre or for movies in general.
Are you disappointed there was no cameo from the Robin who got chemically castrated because his dick was too big?
He might be in there. He might actually be in there. He might have been running with Adam West. I don't know. I'd have to go back and take another look. By any chance, did you guys see the article that came up today about them using the actor from The Flash TV show and how that might not actually be him?
Grant Gustin?
No, so there's an actor on the Flash TV show named Teddy Sears, and he plays Jay Garrick, who's the Golden Age version of the Flash, but he's not actually that character. He's actually like a serial killer posing as that character. And I guess he doesn't know that he's in the movie. He said, so people have been saying, hey, you're in you shot a cameo for the Flash? And he's like, no. But if you watch The Flash, it's him. Like, it's clearly they used his likeness. I think they just didn't want to pay him, so they didn't tell him. They didn't say anything. Like, it's clearly that actor.
How about the controversy with the old ass Superman guy, George Reeves? Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
how about you, Mumpy?
Is it true that some bad shit happened in his life having to do with playing the role of Superman, but evidently this Flash movie released like on the anniversary of his death or something?
Yeah, and he killed him, and he killed himself because like he felt he was trapped and he couldn't get any roles. During the time he played Superman, he had this exclusivity clause in his contract, so he was really just locked into Superman, and then after that he couldn't find any work.
Are we really supposed to feel bad that this fucking famous guy killed himself because he only got to do cape shit, and now he gets to be in a new movie? Like, come on, man. Like, you had your chance, you blew it. Be happy you're even involved at all.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The first Superman to appear in a feature film, George Reeves. He was in Superman versus the Mole Men, and I'll tell you what, that Mole Men movie that he did, it looks like there's some crimes against humanity, maybe like child labor laws. There's midgets in that movie that look fucking frightening, and they light them on fire and stuff, so... I don't think he's all that innocent. He's no angel.
Yeah, I think he probably lit the match.
Yeah, I think so. What comes around goes around. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't sign the contract if you can't fulfill it.
That's right.
That's right.
Lesson learned. But Weekend, I want to know, what did you pick up on your second viewing that made you really double down on hating the film?
I did not like the ending.
Yeah? What's wrong with it?
The ending kind of ruined the movie for me. I think they were trying to play it off as a joke. So at this point, I think
that was the biggest laugh in my... Yeah, spoilers.
Oh, really?
The biggest laugh in my auditorium for sure is when, spoiler alert again, but George Clooney's Batman walks in at the end.
That.
Yeah. No, I did like the F. Like, that was the only time he said, who the fuck
is this?
Yeah, it's kind of like... the whole point of the movie was him to move on, but he forgot that changing things slightly will cause catastrophic or big changes to the timeline. So he's doing this all over again.
Well, really, it's an arc about accepting the past, and he can't accept that his mom died, so he tries to fix it, and that sets off the whole chain of events of the shit in the movie. And then at the end, he goes back to, I guess, re-kill his mom, but since his dad was framed for it, he switches the tomato can on the shelf so that the dad's face will be on the camera, and somehow making that butterfly effect a little change made George Clooney become Batman. I'm not sure the logic behind it, but I thought it was funny.
And what's this? And I don't know, the messaging is weird, right? Okay, let go of the past.
Well, I think it's more of accepting the past. And
accepting the past.
Even if you had the chance to change it, you probably wouldn't be satisfied anyway.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Don't do anything if you can change something about it. It's like, what's happening here, Chief? It's just off-putting. Like I do get that they're trying to play it off as a joke, but it's just kind of, guys, I think they could have ended it with the Iris West thing and then Flash just flashing into the sunset, just do goodery and whatnot.
Well, I think it's also a way for them to end the DCEU as we know it, because as far as I know, after this Aquaman movie, they're completely shifting gears to a whole new universe. So maybe this is their excuse for why we're never going to see Ben Affleck again.
That's it. Are they going to go with George Clooney going forward? Is that?
I'm guessing no. I'm thinking we're going to get Robert Pattinson's own Batman shit and probably nothing else for a bit.
No, we're getting Andy Muschietti's The Brave and the Bold soon. So there will be another Batman that's around, but I don't think it's going to be George Clooney. I think George Clooney feels very above doing this again. So I don't think it'll be him. You know, just real quick before we move on from like the Flash going back in time to clear his father's name, we don't really get anything as far as that murder mystery. The whole time I was thinking, like, what if his dad actually did it? What if his dad actually did it? Why would this woman just randomly get stabbed with a knife in her home by her? Like, nobody knows that. He probably did it. He probably did kill her. It's probably like a Patton Oswalt situation where it's like the most obvious answer is right in front of our faces. That's my thing, anyway.
Yeah. To add to what LowRes said, that's another thing that could have actually helped his dad, like maintain the timeline. But what you could do, Flash, is just watch through a window and see who actually stabs your mom, right? Is that, I don't know, isn't that like the most, if I don't have to change anything, maybe I could just see what happened, or is seeing who killed the mom gonna change the timeline again? I don't know. It's just, if you can't change your dad, like if you can, that's the best way to prove your dad's innocence without changing anything in the timeline, right? So
catch the real killer.
I think the what they were trying to do is maybe set that up for the next movie or another movie, because if you know, are you guys familiar with like the Flash lore?
No. I am, yeah. It was me.
So, I'm vaguely familiar with it. I haven't like read any Flash comics, but I watched the first 2 seasons of that CW show, and I watched the 1990 John Wesley Shipp series back in the day when they were trying to ape the Michael Keaton Batman, and he had that thick rubber suit that there's no way he could have ran that fast in that. Isn't it just, it's a future Flash that kills Flash, like it's his biggest fan or something, goes back in time and kills
that was his former fan that turned psychotic.
Yeah, that's Professor Zoom or something, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that would have been too much to unpack. Yeah, it's his arch nemesis from the future kills his mom.
Well,
there's a meme about it.
I would like the twist if his dad was actually guilty the whole time and he just set him free. That'd be pretty good.
Or it wouldn't even necessarily have to be from the jump. Like, what if you fucked with the timeline and wound up in the timeline where your dad does kill your mom? So maybe you didn't start there, but you made it so much worse.
Yeah, that'd be a real plate of spaghetti. Lots of spaghetti scenes in this movie.
Yes. What did you, Monkey? So you have no history with the Michael Keaton Batman. What did you feel about like his Batman being involved in this movie?
I like the idea of the Flash is in an alternate reality and he's lost his powers and he's just desperately trying to find anybody who can help him. And his version, like this is a different version of Batman who is basically retired and given up on it. And it's a trope we've seen many times where the retired hero who has become jaded needs to be inspired by the plucky, annoying young main character. But I was fine with it. I don't really know much about Keaton's Batman. I liked him in Birdman, and I think it's kind of ironic that based on what Birdman is, that he would go back into the Batman role. But I guess they offered a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed we're not going to get the new timeline with. So, Aquaman was originally going to have a Michael Keaton. Here's the original version of the Flash ending. When George Clooney, his version of Bruce Wayne, gets out of that car, it's supposed to be Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. That was what was originally shot. And then that sets up the Batgirl movie that is now being canceled. And it would have set up Michael Keaton's cameo in Aquaman, which they screen tested Aquaman 2 to several people and had the Michael Keaton cameo in there. And it just made no sense to anyone watching that. They were like, why is Ben Affleck not here? Why is it this old man?
Well, if they hadn't seen The Flash, of course it wouldn't make any sense.
Right, of course. So I think they were looking to weed him out. He was originally going to be set up as like the new Batman. And I don't know. It could have been interesting, I think. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what direction they opt to go in, or if they use any of these players going into James Gunn's DC universe.
Honestly, just fucking end it. For the love of God, let all these people go. Let's reset everything. James Gunn, do your thing. I'd be perfectly fine with never seeing any of these people again, and I'm actually halfway a fan of the DCEU. But yeah, I'm ready for a new start. They fucked this continuity up so many times.
Yeah.
It's pretty messy, and I feel like they're right on the cusp of it. The only thing that could prevent that from happening, because it looks like this Flash movie is not going to make the money back that it needed to make back. It's probably going to wind up getting what it is currently projected to get, which is what, like $300 million? The only thing that could throw a wrench in that is if Aquaman 2 is a massive hit. If Aquaman 2 is a massive hit, then they kind of have a problem on their hands.
Is Amber Heard still in that movie?
Yeah,
she is, yeah.
I don't know if she'll go to the premiere because she's like in Spain in exile. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think I saw like a photo of her shopping at Goodwill or something. I don't know if that was real.
I don't think that's real.
It was something like that.
Would be funny though.
Should I talk about why this movie is fucking kino?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Guys, have you ever seen this little anime called Steins Gate?
I did, yes. This is one of my favorite.
The third act of this movie is Steins Gate, where you have this character who can travel back in time, and he's desperately trying to save the woman he loves from dying, but every time he goes back, he fails and she dies in some other way. That's the entire climax of this movie, and we're watching as the heroes get killed over and over again by overwhelming forces, and ultimately the lesson they learn is that we cannot win. This planet is doomed. We just have to accept it. And, I've never seen that story structure in one of these cape shit movies. It was so refreshing to me to see just the heroes lose over and over again. And the lesson is, sometimes you lose.
Yeah, this timeline's fucked.
Yeah, I thought that was, dare I say, kind of risky. Like, what other superhero movie actually has the entire planet get destroyed and 7 billion people killed?
Yes, You're right about that.
Like, at least Avengers Infinity War, I love that ending too, but they, of course, have to undo it all. This doesn't get undone. Supergirl is fucking dead. Batman's dead. Batman flew into a force field around his ship and exploded and died. It was awesome.
Barry goes, no!
And I really like that the interdimensional scary creature, Monster Man, is actually just the Flash who has spent an infinite amount of time trying to save Supergirl's life over and over again, and he's just been covered in these, whatever, the alien creature's body parts. You just become a complete freak.
Yeah, that was something I did like about it. Like the time debris and the wounds he has accumulated, he just uses it as weapons. That was a nifty concept.
I thought they did great with the character design to that Dark Flash variation too, where it was like, it felt very kind of like Lord of the Rings, or I don't know, just very spooky. I think they did a great job with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other kino scenes, of course, if you have a time travel movie, I think it's a rule in Hollywood, you have to talk about Back to the Future, which of course is my favorite movie, so I give it extra points. They keep making jokes about, in this universe, Eric Stoltz is Marty McFly. I really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
I had to Google who that guy was, and
he's the guy who got completely fucked. He could have been a mega superstar, but he's too dark.
He looks like Michael J. Fox. I was like, he almost looks like Marty McFly.
He was too emo looking in the test footage that I saw. He didn't have the spark of life within Michael J. Fox's eyes.
That's fucked. We could have had the documentary about him instead of Michael J. Fox, huh?
That documentary was half boring, but half kind of inspirational. I'll say that. You know, as a manlet myself, to see a 5'4" man give his Hollywood story of success, you know, it really warmed the cockles in me.
Now is he 5'4" sitting down, or?
I think he's just at his very best. He's 5'4".
I thought this movie kind of gradually heated up. So I had said my initial review, you know, the first 30 minutes I thought were really bad. And I'll be honest with you, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. I hated Ben Affleck's Batman in this movie. Probably my least favorite element, because it was just pure Joss Whedon dialogue. And people have been posting the Lasso of Truth scene. That was really rough. But the outfit, the Ben Affleck Batman costume didn't do it for me. As soon as we pushed all of that Zack Snyder, Justice League, DCEU aside and focused on Barry, I thought, okay, we're starting to go in a good direction now. Then you have him interacting with Michael Keaton's Batman. Then we're really cooking. We're starting to heat up. All the Supergirl stuff I thought was going to be cringe. It worked for me. I thought her being kept in that Russian captivity tank, that was all like, it's kind of a throwback to, what was it, Superman Red Sun, where he lands in Russia. I thought that played well. Her performance was pretty good. And it's a little bit based, dare I say based, the fact that she gets killed abruptly like twice, and she just can't do anything that the regular Superman is capable of, being Supergirl. Like she's not on that level. And it seems to, to reiterate what your point was here, Mumpy, I love that there's consequence to this movie. You lose one of the beloved Batman performances in this film. Michael Keaton dies a heroic death. Supergirl dies abruptly. She's not going to get her own Supergirl spinoff like they originally planned anymore. So it all has weight to it. It all has.
Wait, I could have had a spinoff with this hot as fuck Supergirl. What the hell?
Yeah, she was really hot.
Give it back.
I like that zoom into the S. That was
oh, I bet you did. Those abs have got to be built into the suit, right? Because that's insane.
Yeah, but the fact that she fits into it is like, and there's no like flab or anything. Like, damn.
Yeah, American women, take some notes.
Yeah,
it's clearly possible. You don't got to be from Krypton to do it.
I did that. I did like that line from Michael Keaton when Barry realized he can't bring Batman back, and then he says it to him, and then Michael Keaton goes, "You did bring me back," and then he dies. That was like, oh, that was good delivery.
Guys, I want to break down this baby scene, because it seems like everybody hates the baby scene. If you haven't seen the movie, I'll break it down. It's like a hospital maternity ward. We got these babies up like on the 30th floor. The building is collapsing. I don't remember why. Maybe a sinkhole or something. But basically, all the babies fall out the window, and Flash has to use his Flash shit to stop all the babies from falling to their death. But there's some issues here. Number one, he's low on energy. If he doesn't eat some food, he can't use the Speed Force, and these babies are going to become fucking pancakes. And two, while he's moving fast, he cannot move another person, or else they will basically just like their insides get all liquefied and they fucking die. So he has to somehow eat food and stop these babies from falling to their death without touching them at the same time. People are shitting on this like, oh, what a stupid concept. I thought it was like a good mix of like intense moment and humor at the same time, because I was curious, how the fuck is he gonna pull this off? And he does it, and it's funny. I like the microwave bit. People are reversing the footage on Twitter and making it look like he's microwaving a baby, and fucking retards are falling for it, which, you know, whatever. That's fine, I guess.
It's Ezra Miller. You can't know what this guy's up to.
Yeah.
It's just in character, like in real life.
But so why do you guys hate this so much? I thought it was a very fun way to open the movie.
I didn't say I hated the intro.
Oh, okay.
Well, I hated a lot of... So my first thing was, I found the and obviously, look, it's the Flash. It makes sense. I found the abundance of orange and red to be very off-putting to the eyes. I didn't like the Flash's new outfit, so I was still warming up to that.
Yeah, I didn't like it
sort of,
either.
what was it? It kind of reminded me of like Fruit by the Foot. Like he was covered in fruit by the foot instead of the Power Ranger outfit from the Justice League movie. And then the Ben Affleck's Batman just rubbed me the wrong. I really didn't like him. Jeremy Irons, I guess, was fine. Wonder Woman felt unnecessary for the scene.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that, I think, tainting what was actually happening. And I was still also warming up to how the CG was going to be with these babies, because these babies...
Oh, they just look like baby dolls.
Some of them did. Some of them looked a little just computery for my liking. Some of them looked all right, but it was like a very Looney Tunes sequence, and it felt true to the Flash, I guess. The comical nature of that felt true to the Flash. It felt like a 1950s comic book in a way, I guess. But I guess it was just less of the details of it, more how it was handled. And I feel like once we got away from that and things slowed down a little bit, it got scaled back a bit. Then I was able to get comfortable with what this movie was going to be and what it escalated into.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I just really enjoyed the almost the strategy of how do I rescue these babies without touching them. But what other scenes should we dissect?
I like that scene where young Flash takes out the guy in the underground dungeon when they were escaping, and then suddenly it just abruptly a bullet goes through his knee, and like
Yeah.
no, that was a good like
That was awesome.
moment.
And he's like, wow, I didn't know I could get shot.
And then there are consequences, and yeah, like what LowRes said, that scene felt like it added weight to the movie. I did like the after action patch up with Michael Keaton. He's not invincible. I thought, they got the I win cape with bulletproof, and then oh shit, that looks like it hurt Mr. Keaton. And I did like the quiet moments with future Barry shitting on younger Barry about the monkey doll, and young Barry said, "What the fuck, man? It's just a monkey." And then after that, we go a bit forward with Michael Keaton and Future Flash. They're talking about why he wants to protect this world, and that was kind of touching.
I will say, obviously, everybody's dunking on Ezra Miller for being annoying in this movie, but I'll tell you what, the fact that he was able to play two versions of himself, and at no moment was I like, oh yeah, this is just an actor playing with like another stand-in here, and they're going to graft his face onto it. I thought they did that exceptionally well with this movie, and it never made me question the reality of the film, I guess is what I'm saying. So to be able to do that as an actor, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of heavy lifting to be able to play the main role and like main supporting role as well. And he does good. He does well in both of those character interpretations, I think. And I really I'll tell you what I also enjoyed is just everything with the Wayne Manor sequence and when he's trying to get his powers back and how it emulates like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, where they're raising him up. I think it all plays like very well, very cinematic. And they did a good job of recreating that Batman 1989 Batcave and Wayne Manor and just the whole set and the presence of that. I was worried going into this movie because there were a lot of similarities to The Last Jedi on the surface. I don't have a strong opinion of The Last Jedi one way or the other. But people were very turned off by how they handled Luke Skywalker in that movie. And there's a lot that mirrors that. So we have Michael Keaton. He's got a beard. Luke Skywalker has a beard. It's about 35 years since we last saw him. The new apprentice is seeking out the old master. It's all beat for beat. And I also knew going into this movie that Batman was going to die. So I was like, all right, we're losing Batman at the end of the movie, just like we lost Luke. And at no point did I feel like this interpretation of Michael Keaton's Batman was disrespectful to the two versions of Tim Burton's Batman that we had gotten 30 years ago. It feels very, it's a little bit different, but it feels true to that character. And it's a good, I think they gave him a good solid send-off. I think the big difference here between why Luke didn't work in that Star Wars movie and why this version of Batman does work is that Mark Hamill's just not a very good actor. I don't think Mark Hamill's that great of an actor. I think he fucking sucks. I think he can play one or two characters, right? His entire life was built on Luke Skywalker and doing the voice of the Joker.
Yeah.
And he's not capable of much else. Michael Keaton is a fantastic actor. If you remove Batman from his filmography, Beetlejuice from his filmography, you still got Birdman, Clean and Sober. He's got so many great performances, and I think that's the big thing here. He never fell off in the same way that Mark Hamill was probably never expecting to come out of retirement as Luke Skywalker and have to get a personal trainer and tighten up and be back on screen.
Yeah, I just saw Mark Hamill in this movie, The Machine, which absolutely dog shit movie, and Mark Hamill, he did not help it at all.
Oh God,
oh damn!
It was, oh my! You guys have not seen this? Don't see it. It's fucking bad.
I like the story, and the fact that a movie was made kind of raised my eyebrow. Like, how would you make a movie out of that anecdote? And it turns out it's a bad movie, huh?
I think this dude's just a fucking liar. I think everything about his whole life is a big lie. But
really?
He opens he's playing himself in the movie, of course, and the opening scene is him in therapy with his wife and daughter, and he's like, yeah, my wife and daughter are both cunts. So, I thought that was a good way to play yourself in a movie, is to attack your own family, but otherwise the movie was terrible. He cast Mark Hamill to play his own father. How... I don't know. Fuck The Machine. I want to go back to LowRes. I actually am not up to date with the list of Ezra Miller allegations. Would you like to play the role of Hans and look it up and enlighten us?
Look it up. Well, I know we have, just off the top of my head, I know there's a kidnapping in there.
Yeah. A
lot of grooming.
What kind of kidnapping? Like, I need details here.
So I think what it was, and this is just I haven't looked it up just yet. If I remember right, he said that a girl's parents were abusing her, so he took her to my home state of Massachusetts, and he has like a farm in Massachusetts where he keeps children. That's true, I believe.
What?
Yeah, I think that's about
Yeah,
it.
no, that's true.
I mean, if she's living with her parents, she's probably underage, but like, how old are we talking? Like 11 or like 17?
I don't think it was 17. 17 is legal in most states. I think it was like 13 or something.
That's fucking insane.
There's a Rolling Stone article that says Ezra Miller's Reign of Terror, a timeline of Flash Star's many controversies.
Well, let's hear them.
Okay, April 2020. Oh, I remember this. This is a great one. Miller is seen in a viral video choking and throwing an unnamed woman. It was just like a fan who came up looking for an autograph, and he was wasted. He was probably on all kinds of pills. He said, "Oh, you want to fight? That's what you want to do?" And then he chokeslammed her like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It wasn't like a playful choking with a fan. He actually injured the woman.
He fucked her up. So that's April 2020. Then, nothing really happens till January 27th, 2022. Miller posts a bizarre video directed at the Ku Klux Klan saying... flashing his flash signet ring, suggesting the members should kill themselves with their own guns. We'll do it for you.
So this is what the liberals are so mad about? He told the KKK to KYS?
Yes. Hey, I think he references the movie in his video here. He said, let's save some live babies. Love you like whoa. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Wow,
reading
spoiler
his
alert,
quotes.
Ezra.
Seriously.
Wait, so let's break these down. First one, chokeslam a fan, whatever. We've all been there. You don't need to be canceled because you're being a little too playful. The second one sounds kind of heroic to me. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big fan of the KKK. If they shot themselves, I would not shed a tear. So far he's like, in terms of karma, he's positive points instead of negative for me. But let's see how his score ends up. What's the next thing he did?
So we got February 2022. It was a lot in 2022 here.
Busy year.
I think the delay on the Flash really put him in a unhinged mind state. A woman identified by her first name, Nadia, came forward to Variety to claim that Miller had harassed her during a heated incident at her Berlin apartment, voicing fears that Miller could somehow attack me physically during the confrontation. I totally felt unsafe, she said. Now, I guess he didn't actually do anything.
No, this sounds like a thought crime. Like she imagined a threat, and now she's crying about it. Okay, so again, nothing against Ezra.
Okay, now we've got the first mugshot.
Uh-oh.
March 2022. He was arrested in oh God. Reports emerged that Miller was staying in Hawaii, terrorizing the community of Hilo with a string of arrests for disorderly conduct and harassment. Officials said Miller was the subject of at least 10 police phone calls that month over minor disturbances, such as filming people at a gas station, refusing to move from outside a restaurant, and arguing with strangers. One of the major incidents occurred at a local karaoke bar, where Miller allegedly started yelling obscenities and became agitated when a couple began singing Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's Shallow at the karaoke bar. He was accused of snatching the microphone away from the woman mid-song and later lunging at the man playing darts, according to police, and was charged with disorderly conduct and harassment. So still kind of minor, still pretty just
This
bar
literally happened last time I went to the fucking karaoke bar. Some drunk guy went up and took the mic from the guy performing. They didn't arrest his ass. They didn't cancel his ass. Like, is this really all just petty fucking crybaby shit? You have nothing better than, oh, he stole my turn at karaoke.
Trying to correct the police with his pronouns. It was, it's pretty kino.
Oh wait, what are his pronouns?
Kino stuff, yes. There's a good video out there. But he did end this encounter by saying, "I will bury you and your slut wife."
Damn. These.
So, he also allegedly stole the woman's passport and the man's wallet, credit cards, and important documents. So I think the video that I just referenced there came out from this encounter. Now, there's a lot that happens in April. So April 6, 2022, Warner Brothers and DC executives held an emergency meeting over Miller and the future of The Flash in light of the arrests. So they tried to get a hold of Ezra. I don't think Ezra was available at that time. April 19th, 2022, he gets arrested again in Hawaii, this time charged with second-degree assault for allegedly throwing a chair at a 26-year-old woman, leaving her with a half-inch gash in her forehead.
Oh.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
April 23rd, 2022, TikTok began circulating from a person by the name of Mia Solange, who uses they-them pronouns. Solange indicated that they were in a romantic relationship with Miller, posting a series of photos of the pair believed to have been taken in 2019. She captioned the video, "Ezra Miller is not a good human, and I can finally say so without being terrified. #abuser."
Okay, fucking Plato and Socrates, what is a good human? Don't give me that fucking shit. Who among us is good, first of all? You're throwing a chair and making a gash in a woman's head? Okay, maybe I haven't done that one, but...
And we've got May 16th, 2022. So a music producer named Oliver Ignatius and rapper Gaze Guevara claimed to Rolling Stone that Miller stole music they had worked on together. All right, now it's whatever.
More crybaby bullshit.
Exactly. It's a lot of he said, she said, or they said. Early June 2022, the concerned parents of Gibson Iron Eyes, a notable Standing Rock activist, accused Miller of grooming and controlling the then 18-year-old. Come on. Miller had met Gibson, who uses they-them pronouns and also goes by the name Dakota. Well, all right, this isn't good now. When the activist was 12, maintaining a close friendship that consisted of visits to London and New York City. However, Gibson's parents, Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle, claimed in an application for a protective order on behalf of their child that Miller had lured the teen away from their family. Ezra uses violence, intimidation, and threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over a young adolescent Dakota, according to court records.
Yeah, I think lock him up at this point. That's you don't come back from that one. I don't know.
There's another mugshot here with him. Gibson has denied that they were a victim and blasted the parents' claims and concerns, saying Miller had only provided loving support and invaluable protection during a troubling time in their life.
That sounds like something a groomed 12-year-old is going to say.
You wouldn't say, yeah. June 16th. God, there's a lot here. Oh my God, this could be its own podcast. All right, we're getting kind of close. We're about like 2/3 of the way here.
Okay.
June 16th, 2022, a mother and her then 11-year-old non-binary child came forward to the Daily Beast after they were granted a temporary restraining order against Miller in Massachusetts over claims that Miller had acted inappropriately toward the child in February of that year.
What, did he ask them if they were a they, them? Because I would agree that's inappropriate to ask an 11-year-old.
The mother claimed Miller had menaced the family while visiting with a neighbor, claiming Miller flashed a gun and screamed at her. It was really uncomfortable, the child told the outlet. I was really nervous. I was scared to be around them after they'd yelled at my mother and she was crying. So he threatened the mom with a gun. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Miller had allegedly taken an interest in the child, saying the child was an elevated being, had a lot of power to them, and the child would be lucky to have Miller guide them.
Oh my fucking god, this is creepy as fuck.
Okay.
Did he invite him to the farm?
Yeah, I think he was on the. I think them was on the farm.
Okay.
During that time,
Goddamn.
June 23rd, 2022. Miller had a 25-year-old mother and her 3 children under the age of 5 living at the 96-acre farm in Stamford, Vermont, which worried the children's father and people familiar with the situation. 2 sources claimed that Miller's home was unsafe for children, alleging there was frequent marijuana use around the kids and guns were left around the home unattended.
So, like 1/3 of the homes in the state of Iowa, just people smoking weed in front of their fucking 3-year-old kids, and they got their guns on the shelf. You know, it's called real America, and I'm guessing whoever's complaining about this one has never stepped foot in a real house.
I think so. Vermont's very chill. It's a very granola state, you know. I think Bernie Sanders is from Vermont, so they're not used to that sort of. I think there's like public nudity allowed in Vermont, just all statewide. That's the kind of place Vermont is. So he moved the farm from Massachusetts to Vermont, which I guess fits Ezra Miller's vibe a little better. August 8th, 2022, one of Miller's neighbors accused Miller of breaking into his home and stealing several bottles of alcohol.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing that one.
Yes. He probably thought he was the Flash in that one scene where he goes through the wall and
Yeah.
the 2 rolling rocks. August 10th, 2022, Vermont State Police turned up to Miller's sprawling Vermont farm with an emergency care order, removed the 25-year-old mother and her 3 children from the property. Miller told police the family hadn't been there for 2 months, but the Vermont State Attorney's Office said the claim seemed like an attempt to evade service of the order. Okay.
I don't really understand this one. Why is he in trouble for the choices that a 25-year-old mother made about her own children?
Good question. He's famous. That's why. You know, the
He's to
power
blame.
imbalance of someone famous, you can't consent. Anyway, August 15th, 2022, Miller finally issued a statement amid their arrest and the barrage of accusations, apologizing for their behavior. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life.
And then the next day, there's another kidnapping?
Well, September 2022 seemed like, all right, let me see how I can sum up this one. Vanity Fair spoke to a number of close sources to Miller who expressed concern for the actor, citing their increasingly erratic behavior, such as delusions of being the next messiah and seeking out malleable young people to join their entourage.
Sounds
friends-
bad. Jesus.
Yeah, he's starting a cult here. Friends also expressed concern with Miller's polyamorous relationships with a number of young women. Young women.
That sounds
It
like some
was-
jealousy. Oh, he's fucking too many hot chicks. Somebody stop him.
That's the undercurrent here. Saying
The
it
word
was
women
more-
is in the sentence, so, you know, they're adults, right?
That's true. That's right. Yes. Saying it was more akin to a patriarchal dictatorship where Ezra controls all the sex as the man and plays the women against each other.
Yeah, welcome to Mormonism, dude. Go to Utah if you got a problem with that shit.
So this here, there's no crimes here. It's just people not fucking a bunch of.
But there's a couple crimes in there.
There's a few. Well, we get January 2023 now. Now we're in the current year. Miller pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of unlawful trespassing stemming from their Vermont burglary arrest. So he's just saying he's guilty here for a prior offense. That's fine. And that's it. That's it. There is something for February 2023 here, but it's literally just he was not present for a lot of the campaign for The Flash, which is true. But,
Probably intentional from Warner Brothers, but
Yeah, I think so. He did show up to the premiere. He seemed mentally sound enough from what I had seen anyway.
okay. So he stole somebody's karaoke microphone. He gave a woman a second gash.
He stole a
And
12-year-old.
well, yeah, well, that's a bad one for sure. He gave
the
a
worst.
single mom and her children a place to stay for free. You know, so there's good and bad here.
I think in his head, he's definitely a hero. You know, a lot of the Ezra Miller stuff echoes. I don't know if you guys know the Jared Leto abuse Tumblr history thing that turned out to be entirely fan fiction. And people saying, oh, Jared Leto started his own island with women to come and visit him. That's just Ezra Miller. I think Ezra Miller's been doing this the whole time, and they planted it on Jared Leto.
Hey, man, if I could have an island where women want to come fuck me, I'm going to do it myself, so I can't really judge him for that one.
Well, I think maybe a farm was the wrong choice. There's something creepy about a farm. Makes you think of Mr. Hands.
Oh, God. Yeah, Weekend, what would you use for your sex palace, if not a farm or an island?
I don't know. I think Ezra has the right idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that. Ezra Miller has the right idea.
Yeah.
That's the last thing he needs to hear right now. Yeah.
Well, do you
I was
think
thinking like
this
when
movie's
he's-
box office is doing pretty poorly? Do you think that's going to be a trigger for him to relapse?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I
Like the
hope
Flash thing,
so.
it matters a lot to him. And in the video where he's getting arrested, he specifically cites to the officers many times, he's like, don't touch my flash ring. It's very important to me. Don't touch my flash ring.
Oh my god.
No.
He just
this
wears
is a
it
big
all
part
the
of it.
time?
He does.
Ugh.
That's sad and funny.
It means a lot to him. And honestly, this movie wouldn't be doing poorly if they didn't go back for reshoots 4 or 5 times and inflate the budget to, what is it, like $500 million? Like $70 million should have
Jesus.
been a pretty solid opening for this movie, but it's not gonna be. It's never gonna be enough to make back the money that was spent on all the visual effects and having to redo scenes and everything else. So it's kind of, I don't know. In a way, I think it's a good thing, and it probably helps the movie because one of the strong points of this film that we keep going back to is that there's weight and consequence to the characters dying. And if James Gunn didn't get the reins to the DC slate going forward, even though his slate looks horrible, in my opinion, it looks very unappealing on all levels. And I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of it as well. But if he doesn't come in, Michael Keaton comes back at the end of the movie, and then we have a Supergirl spinoff film and potentially a Flash movie where both of them come back, and it undoes everything that was good about what happened with that battle sequence. So I guess it's kind of a good thing that this is it. This is the final chapter in everything that was built since 2013.
Well, other than Aquaman, right?
Well, yes, but chronologically that takes place. I don't even know.
Well, did you see the post-credit scene? Because Aquaman was in this movie.
Yes, the crowd that remained in the theater loved that sequence.
Yeah, so am I to believe that in this Aquaman movie, Aquaman, unbeknownst to him, is now in an alternate timeline where he does not know Bruce Wayne or anything like that?
It's confusing. It's hard to say. My impression was that he knew of Batman, but I mean, who's the Batman of that? Is it Ben? Is it George Clooney? Is it whoever they get for the new movie where it's going to be him and his son? You know, I don't know.
Maybe it is exactly the same, but it's just like a skin swap on Bruce Wayne, and then everything else in this, timeline is exactly the same for them.
Which then means like this all starts with Batman Forever now. Batman Forever is like ground zero for all these Zack Snyder films that happened, I guess.
So we're gonna have nostalgia critics screaming about the Bat credit card.
I guess so. God damn, you just reminded me we got to watch Kick-Ass here.
Yeah, in July, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole timeline is very muddled, and I mean, technically, George Clooney's Batman was supposed to be Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't know. I think it's a very funny gag. If you take it too seriously or try to analyze it too much, you just wind up very, very befuddled. There's nothing about it that you can straighten out in a linear way that makes sense.
Should we take a look at the upcoming DC slate and decide which movies we're going to skip?
I'm going to skip most of them, but I'm down to take a look.
And I think there's like a Blue Beetle. I keep seeing trailers for whatever that is. Looks like like Mexican Iron Man.
I'm
I don't
gonna
really
miss
need that.
I don't know if I'm gonna skip that because
You
I
gonna
don't
see
know.
it?
I did not like the guy saying this is like the first Latin superhero when there's probably some example of a Mexican or another
Flash.
Latin American there.
Isn't the Flash's mom Latino?
Yeah,
suddenly?
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that his mom was a Latin American. That
you don't like George Lopez saying that Batman is a fascist.
I don't know, man. It feels weird. Just let me have
This
fun
Blue
with my
Beetle,
fucking.
It doesn't even feel like a real movie. So that has the same vibe to it that the Batgirl movie had, which is like, this is a CW show movie, basically. Like they have nowhere to put it in the timeline either. It doesn't exist in this one, I think, and it doesn't exist in James Gunn's DCU. So they just don't know what to do with it. I think it's gonna flop in the same way Shazam 2 did.
Oh wow, I was under the impression that this was like the beginning of James Gunn's version, but I guess it's not.
No, so between James Gunn becoming the guy to helm all the DC movies and Zack Snyder's Justice League dropping and them flushing away everything else, I think who's the guy who was leading it? I think it was some guy with an Asian name. I don't know if Kevin
Justin Lin?
No.
Weekend Warrior?
It was somebody who was involved in some of the earlier films from a producer perspective, and he's the one who greenlit Batgirl and was going to have Michael Keaton be Batman. And this is the one movie they got finished in that time before James Gunn took the reins.
So this really will just be a complete one-off where they're just shitting on Batman for no reason, I guess?
Kind of, yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about. I think he testified during the Johnny Depp trial.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. He was a Japanese sounding name, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's that guy's name? I'm curious now. Warner Brothers executive Japanese. Kevin Sugihara, is that
That's
him?
right, yes. Yeah. That's the guy. So he was in charge of helming it, and they had a completely different slate because it was all going to be an offshoot of Zack Snyder's DCEU. And then David Zaslav came into power at Warner Brothers and was like, okay, he was basically like Negan in The Walking Dead and decided to start cracking skulls left and right and disposing of whatever unnecessary properties were there, things that were hemorrhaging money. And all of these projects got pushed to the wayside as a result. Blue Beetle was the only one that was completed. So it exists in this sphere between the two timelines, essentially.
Yeah, I can see that movie completely flopping and not making any money at all.
I just don't like it if they're gonna say that people are racist because they didn't watch this movie. So I'm anticipating those articles.
Hey, we should say that about The Flash. If you don't watch The Flash movie, you're a racist.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that the Snyderverse people are really shitting on this movie.
Hey, not me. You'll never hear that from
Zack.
me.
I love Zack. I really enjoyed this movie. I understand maybe where some of their complaints come from, but I have a feeling that a good chunk of them are just watching the leaked clips.
Definitely.
And not sitting down for the film itself.
And I can't blame anybody for not going to the theater and paying money to watch a movie they don't want to see, but basing all of their hatred on the real-life activities of the actor and on poorly filmed fucking TikToks from the movie theater, maybe don't review a movie you haven't seen. Maybe just don't have an opinion on it. But, it's Twitter. People are going to say shit.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, at least you saw the movie twice, Weekend. I mean, if anything, this movie's success has to be on your shoulders here.
I'm just going to say that I shat on Little Mermaid without even watching it, so...
Well, to be fair, there's plenty of cam rips, and I've seen enough. I've seen enough clips from that one that, like, legit, not just fucking TikTok of bad CGI effects from an angle.
And the scuttlebutt, oh my god, fuck that song. I fucking hate that shit.
It has really grown on me, I gotta be honest.
Shut up!
Awkwafina's disgusting voice, legitimately, I was like, okay, yeah, I can hear this horrible squawking in my ear, like she's screaming into the microphone.
Aquafina, more like Squawkafina, boom.
Yeah, pretty much. LowRes, if we're done talking about The Flash or winding down, I do have a bone to pick with you.
Oh my god, okay.
Oh.
Last night, LowRes, I remembered a movie from my childhood that I really enjoyed, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it another shot here. Let's see if it holds up, and it really did. It was as funny as I remembered, if not more so. I think I picked up on jokes I never knew about, and I just really had a good time with this movie. I go on Letterboxd, I give it its rightful 4-star review, and looks like LowRes Wonderbread also reviewed this film, and he gave it 1 star. One star on the live-action Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. LowRes, how dare you?
You know what? I actually haven't watched that recently. I rented that when it came out in 1999 or 2000.
2000.
And I remember I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle, the cartoon, because they used to play it early in the morning on Cartoon Network or some channel back in the 90s. And I thought, Robert De Niro is in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie? I got to see this. And then I rented it from Blockbuster, and I hated every second of it. So I'll be honest with you.
Son of a bitch.
My review here is based off of my 9 or 10-year-old brain. I haven't watched it since, but it's just the feeling of renting it, having that excitement, and then sitting down and being like, fuck this movie. When I was a kid, when I should have been wowed by it. Look, maybe I'll go back and I'll really find it to be a treat. But
listen, if I'm guessing you had not seen Taxi Driver as a 9-year-old, so when Robert De Niro as a fearless leader character starts saying, "Are you talking to me? There's nobody else here. You must be talking to me." I'm guessing you didn't get that sick reference as a kid. But this movie is chock full of perhaps the greatest meta humor of any movie. Like, I think this is, if you want to see a meta movie where it's just completely meta the whole time, don't watch Chippendale Rescue Ranger movie. Watch Rocky and Bullwinkle. I'm dead serious. Motherfucking John Goodman shows up at one point. Keenan and Kel are playing themselves in the movie. Like, Jason Alexander is playing the fucking Boris, the fucking little. Oh my god! Like
Boris and Natasha.
Yeah, it's filled to the brim with great humor, and it's just very entertaining. I think you should give it a second look.
Based off of your saying that, just because I don't remember Keenan and Kel even being in this movie, I'll consider it. I'll look into it. How about that?
Yeah. If you ever do, just let me know what you think. You might have been right as a child. Maybe it is a 1-star movie and I'm just insane, but I had a great time last night.
Duly noted. I'll see if there's a torrent or something. If this is on Netflix, maybe I'll pop it on the TV while I'm working, and we'll see. We'll give it a second glance.
Mm-hmm. Weekend, do you have any last thoughts or anything you want to plug?
I am making a video on The Flash, so please watch out for it, everyone.
Are you going to steal any of my great points from this podcast?
Probably. We'll see.
Wow, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
For all the LowRes people, you can find me on YouTube at Simian Jimmy or Simian Jimmy's Treehouse for all the podcast stuff. LowRes, where can people find you?
Check out Movies, unless you're listening to this right now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Movies, a podcast by the Active Cinema on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all the other podcasting platforms. Check that out.
Has Kevin Smith posted himself crying at the Nicolas Cage cameo yet?
God, I wouldn't feel right if he didn't do it. If he snubbed this thing in particular, his one imprint on the DC universe here. I hope so. I think we're due for it. He's got a 170-minute copy of Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever that he's screening in 2 days.
No, what the hell? How long is that? 170 minutes? It's like that's 3 fucking hours long?
So almost 3 hours, yeah.
People have been ranting on and on, release the Schumacher cut, release the Schumacher of Batman Forever, which I liked that movie when I was a kid. It's not good. It's very campy, obviously, but it's just not a very good movie. I can't imagine 3 hours making it an improved film. But that's what he's got going on this week.
Well, I guess go check out that screening, even though by the time this comes out, it's too late. And for everybody else, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys didn't hate The Flash as much as Weekend. Hopefully you are an enlightened individual like myself. But I think that's all I got.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.
Recording stopped.